Hello, eScar friends. In this video, I'll once again be summarizing the storyline of a newly released American military action war film from 2025. The story is based on a true event that ended in a tragic incident which occurred on November 19, 2006. At that time, the US military deployed its elite unit, Nevesil, to Iraq on a covert operation. Upon arriving at the target location, it turned out that the enemy they were facing was Al-Qaeda militants with above-average combat capabilities. The American troops were heavily bombarded with various weapons. What started as a secret mission quickly turned into an emergency evacuation for the Nevesil team. This is the plot summary of the true American war film titled Warfare 2025. The film opens by showing members of the Nevesil unit infiltrating Ramadi, Iraq, on November 19, 2006. They're tasked with a special mission to conduct surveillance and reconnaissance on individuals suspected of being terrorists. To ensure their infiltration remains undetected, the Nevesil team splits into smaller squads and hijacks a house belonging to a local family in the area. This house will serve as their base of operations during the surveillance mission. The original family living in the house is left unharmed, as international warfare laws prohibit military forces from killing civilians. The family is locked in a room but will be protected if enemy forces attack. The next day, we are introduced to some members of the Nevesil team present there. Erik, the team captain, leads the operation. Next, there is the sniper, Elliott, who is accompanied by his junior, Frank. For their surveillance mission, they're assisted by satellite imagery to track enemy movements. The task of managing the satellite data is entrusted to Mac and Loris, who are stationed at laptops. They're also responsible for requesting airstrikes if the team faces enemy fire. Meanwhile, Elliott always takes notes and remembers the movements of anyone he sees through his sniper's scope, as anyone could be a threat. Shortly after, Elliott reports seeing several suspicious individuals outside the building, frequently entering and exiting. It seems like something is going on. He also spots a man on the rooftop talking on the phone. After a while, a voice is heard ordering everyone to go inside the house. One of Erik's team members, along with a translator, reports that the voice was calling for jihad, specifically for the Muslim cause. At this point, we learn that the enemy they're facing is the Al-Qaeda military group, a jihadist organization known for their expertise in explosives and other military tactics. Their main adversary is the United States. The leader of Al-Qaeda, the infamous Osama bin Laden, is revealed. From his sniper position, Elliott observes several men walking into a building carrying weapons right in front of their base. And then,
yeah, we're gonna need a Casaback.
Yeah. All right, grenades thrown into our position.
Papa, 1-0 building.
Not a good idea.
Confirm sector and building number.
Read back.
in that incident, all team members were in good condition. Since their presence had already been detected, Roy contacted another Nevesil team unit to come and assist them. He also contacted the command center to request immediate air support. Shortly after, Erik received word that the backup team was engaged in a firefight with enemy forces, but the evacuation support would arrive soon. To distract the enemy, Erik ordered one of his men, Sam, to blow up the building next to them. Then, they immediately went down to the lower floor to wait for the arrival of the armored vehicle that would evacuate them. But before that, Mike Lenaris was instructed to protect the homeowner's family and to explain to them that the US military would ensure their safety until they were successfully evacuated. Not long after, the sound of the evacuation tank approaching could be heard. Frank was then ordered to throw a smoke grenade and quickly head to the evacuation tank. Hoping that no further attacks would occur, Erik and his team members carefully stepped out, shielded by the thick smoke from the smoke bombs. One by one, they exited the house and prepared to enter the tank. Everything seemed safe at first, but not long after. In the explosion, their local interpreter was killed instantly. Elliott and Sam were severely injured and unable to move. Meanwhile, the other team members only suffered minor injuries and were slightly shaken. They then carried Elliott and Sam back into the house. Erik had been continuously communicating with the other teams, trying to get immediate assistance. This was crucial, as the Al-Qaeda group kept attacking him relentlessly. Unfortunately, the other Nevisel team was currently engaged in a firefight with enemy forces, making it impossible for them to reach Erik's location. Meanwhile, outside the house, Al-Qaeda members continued their assault, throwing explosives at the building where Erik and his team were taking cover. Over the radio, they received word that the evacuation team was approaching Erik and his team's current location. However, it would take a little more time, as the team had to clear the road of Al-Qaeda members blocking the way. While waiting for the evac team to arrive, Ray continued administering medical aid to Sam, who had suffered a severe leg injury. Elliott also received medical assistance from Matt to help ease his pain. Both Matt and Ray injected morphine into Sam and Elliott's arm. Shortly after, another message came through the radio. The evacuation team would arrive in 5 more minutes. At that moment, they were still engaged in a firefight with Al-Qaeda members.
To the north in vicinity of OP, we are contact. Frogman's position, we are propane 5-6. We are contact in vicinity of their position. Just to the north of the Frogman's.
On me!
The evacuation team successfully entered the house where Erik and his team were located. It was revealed that the team was led by Commander Jack. Jack then ordered several of his men to take positions upstairs, while the rest remained on alert and assisted with further medical aid for Elliott and Sam before the evacuation. After that, Jack took over command of the team, as Erik was still traumatized by the earlier explosion. Therefore, leadership was handed over to Jack for this operation. Jack then instructed the team member in charge of the radio to immediately contact command headquarters and request 2 tanks for casualty evacuation and 2 more for extraction. Meanwhile, from the upper floor and the front gate of the house, Jack's men engaged in a firefight with Al-Qaeda members. As the evacuation tanks were about to arrive, Jack gave further instructions to his team. He informed them that 2 casualty evacuation tanks would be arriving shortly, one on the left side and one on the right. Elliott would be evacuated into the tank on the right side, while Sam would be taken into the tank on the left. To make it easier to carry them, Jack ordered that Elliott and Sam be moved using carpets as makeshift stretchers. Tommy and Frank were assigned to lead the way out, providing covering fire. Once both of them were successfully inside the evacuation tanks, the remaining team members were instructed to quickly return inside the house.
You alright? You alright?
The 2 tanks evacuating Elliott and Sam finally managed to get out of the danger zone. Now it was Jack and his team's turn to be picked up by the 2 extraction tanks. Through radio communication, Jack received a report from satellite imagery that many Al-Qaeda members were surrounding their location but not positioned on the upper floor. Without hesitation, Jack ordered the 2 incoming tanks to begin bombarding the 2nd floor of the house they were currently in. The plan was for them to make their escape once the F-16 fighter jets arrived to help divert the enemy's attention. In the end, All the members of the Nevisel unit managed to get out of that hellish place, though there were casualties among them. The mission, which initially was only for surveillance and reconnaissance, suddenly turned into an emergency evacuation mission. This battle also left the family who owned the house traumatized and suffering great losses, as their home was severely damaged. The film closes by showing photos of the Nevisel members who were involved in the tragic events of November 19, 2006. There is a photo of Elliott, who now has to use a wheelchair to move around, as his left leg was amputated due to an explosion. Then there's Raymond Dosa, who is both the brother and the writer of this film Warfare. He used to be a member of Nevisel along with Elliott and the others. This film is based on his and his comrades' experiences while serving in Iraq. Next is Sam. He also has to use a wheelchair, as his legs were hit by the explosion during that tragic event. Then there's Captain Erik and several other Nevisel members. And that's the recap of the film's story this time, folks. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments. Thank you, and greetings from Sabat Eska.